The drug and alcohol addiction is a very sad life. The drug comes before anything. The drug is your husband, it is your wife, it is your everything.
All you focus on is your addiction and feeding that habit so that you can function. Because there's something not working right in the head for you to keep doing what you're doing. It's a form of madness.
Lynn has recently stopped using drugs. She's on a programme of activities for recovering addicts. The programme's called Sea Change and is based in Birmingham. Participants are taken on trips to a wide range of places. The activities are intended to help with the transition from the life of an addict to living a normal life.
Go down, drop it off and go in again.
Yeah, I was always attracted to trouble. So at a very young age, I started hanging around with the wrong crowd. I was probably about 13. Started experimenting with just cannabis. I was only raised by my mom. I didn't meet my dad. My mom was a perfect mom. She never did anything like that. She never touched drugs or alcohol. Each year, the drug got harder and harder until finally I was using heroin. I started that when I was 18. And doing things that I really didn't want to do to support myself. And I was very young. I was an attractive young girl, and and I attracted the wrong kind of people, So that's when it started. Over in America, you get arrested for anything. So I was always going in and out of jail.
Mack is on Sea Change too. He isn't a participant. He's a co-facilitator and the driver of the minivan.
I came through the care system of the 60s and 70s, Wasn't exactly the best upbringing in life, but it is what it is, and it was what it was. After going through the care system, I went through the criminal justice system, became a career criminal. About 15, 16, I was addicted to cannabis, and then through cannabis I was introduced to other drugs like speed, amphetamine, uppers, downers, barbs, and then I was introduced to heroin and coke, and then I was introduced to crack. And you get the whole myriad of drugs, one follows the other. At the end of the day, I came out of the care system, went into the criminal justice system, where it's even more prevalent, and I ended up addicted to heroin. I got myself clean, right? Although I was mixing and dabbling with other things, I was clean of heroin, which was my main drug of issue. I was clean for 20 years, and I came off a prison sentence in 2002, and I never made it off the car park. I had a mental meltdown, and I became addicted to crack and heroin again. The worst things about being caught up in the madness: living on the street, homelessness, having no food, going hungry, going cold, having to go out and graft for money. When I used to have to go out grafting, I used to have to go out shoplifting like a lot of people did. The last thing you think of when you go to sleep is I've got to score in the morning, I've got to get up, I've got to go out and earn my money to score. That's the worst thing. Always chasing the next hit, that's the worst part about it.
So before you know it, the addiction is a way of life, and you don't live, you just exist. And you can get very sad and lonely. I was very isolated. In the end, I started hanging around with the wrong people. But myself, I then didn't trust them, because these people, they end up stealing off of me. They steal off of each other. And even though I was in my addiction, I was never that type of person. I've always been pretty honest, even in my addiction. So I stayed away from even them in the end, and I was just isolated on my own.
Isolation, you're sitting in a room and you don't go out. You don't do anything. The only thing you do is pick a phone up and phone your dealer. And you sit there and you wait for him to come. You might wait 5 minutes, you might wait 5 hours. For me, it was about covering up emotions, I think.
I didn't, and I still don't like dealing with emotions. But it's, yeah, a lot of addicts are dimming the pain. I think a lot of us have had a hard life.
Personal point of view, I see drug addiction as a mental health issue. They like to describe us as useless, wasting, want-not people who just take drugs because we enjoy them. It's a mental health condition because it all stems from what goes on in your brain. Why you take drugs, why you enjoy taking drugs, or why you're trying to hide things with drugs. You're trying to wear a mask by taking drugs because you're not prepared to deal with the emotional involvement of the issues that you're dealing with. So you take something to block it out, be it alcohol, be it drugs, be it scripted drugs, whatever.
After years of addiction, Mack and Lynn both reached a point where they were determined to get clean.
The catalyst for me stopping or seeking help, right, was when I got arrested. And it was a bit of a shock getting arrested for shoplifting because I never used to get arrested for little things like that.
It was just a huge thing for me to see like everybody else doing what they needed to be doing, and it just helped me say, I woke up one morning and I said, that's enough, I'm just not going to do it anymore.
Yes, it's easy to get clean. It's staying clean that's hard.
I think I've had 2 lapses, but you can't dwell on those because, you know, I have to appreciate and see that I would have never had that many days before where I was not using. I think it would be very hard without continuous help and support from other addicts. And the people that I've seen with 20 years clean, 30 years clean, they've got all something in common. And that what they have in common is they are still going to meetings after 20, 30 years.
So what you have to do is surround yourself with winners and people of like mind who don't want to use, they want to make a change. When you're talking to a peer, they get what you're talking about and they know what you're talking about and they can empathise with you and they can help you get through that. Whereas somebody who's never been there, they can help you to a point, but not as much as somebody who's actually been there.
At Sea Change, recovering addicts run support groups which Lynn goes to.
Today we look at social capital. It's about building positive social networks.
Your behaviour will dictate the outcome in your life. Not what you think, not what you feel, but what you do is the important thing.
Mack also sought professional help.
I did cognitive behavioural therapy, which really helped me. It helped me challenge my own behaviour. It gave me the tools to cope with the loneliness and isolation and the madness and self-loathing and hatred and just thinking that you're not worth anything. Working the programme of the CBT, changing my way of thinking and putting the tools in place so that when I do have these crazy thoughts of, yeah, I'm all right, I can have a use up. No, I can't have a use up.
As well as getting support, what Lynn and Mack see as absolutely crucial is keeping busy. For Lynn, the end of Sea Change will be the beginning of a new way of life.
What Sea Change has taught me is you can go out there and find things to fill your day, and that's a big step in helping you not pick up a drink or a drug or whatever it may be. I've got to find out where I can volunteer, and like animals is my joy of life. I love them. And if I could find somewhere where I could work with the animals, I'd be so happy.
Mack's been clean for 3 years. During that time, he's developed a purposeful structure to his life. As well as driving for Sea Change, he volunteers on an allotment project for recovering addicts and is involved in an outreach programme called Uproar.
We go out into festivals and pubs and clubs and diverse communities promoting a safer nightlife. As we know, people are going to use drugs in the nighttime economy, so what we do is we go out there and provide health and safety information around their personal safety and around the club drugs that they may well be using. Not that we condone whether they use them or not, but have the knowledge that if they are going to use them, that you know what you're using and how to do it safely. And it's a way of giving back to the community. That's what I do. Simple, pure and simple.